Coming up on this episode of DL Weekly, big changes coming to the Haunted Mansion and New Orleans Square. Tiana's Palace menu and pricing is revealed.
Halloween is ready to go at Disneyland. New Oogie Boogie Bash villains. We talk about Tage and James' trip to Disneyland and more. DL Weekly starts now.
Howdy, partners! For your safety, remain seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast. And be sure to watch your ears. If any of you folks are wearing hats or glasses, best remove them, because Tage and Teresa have the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of DL Weekly for the week of August 30th, 2023. I'm Tage Bushman.
And I'm Teresa Urban. We would like to thank all of our current weekly tiers, including Carrie W., Angela D., Mandy B., and Jennifer L. for supporting the show. Without your support, DL Weekly would not be possible. Your support ensures that the podcast will continue and that we can make it to the parks more often to bring you the latest news and information right from the parks. If you would like to become an official weekly tier, head on over to dlweekly.net/support to sign up.
In episode 222, we spoke to Debbie and Steve from Designer Park Company about their rope drop backpacks, which have launched, and there's all types of variations and stuff now. Well, if you've been wanting to get one of these park goer bags for yourself, you can use our promo code DLWeekly to get 10% off your purchase over at designerparkco.com.
Well, if you enjoy listening to the show, please consider rating and reviewing us on your podcast app. This helps other Disney fans become weekly tiers and part of the community.
Now, let's get to the news.
Well, a big update is coming to the Haunted Mansion and the nearby New Orleans Square area. I was so excited. This broke today, which, it broke before we recorded. That never happened.
That is true.
But the Disney Parks blog announced that a new permanent retail shop will be constructed at the exit of the attraction, replacing the smaller, more temporary location, and the extended queue would be expanded. The extended queue will take over the old Fast Pass distribution area and some of the plaza between Tiana's Palace and the Haunted Mansion. Concept art appears to show the removal of the fountain, but the addition of a bandstand and a more open area overall.
So normally I would start talking about this, but Teresa, I want you to get your vibes out about this before I go into my more critical eye.
So the other thing I really want to mention, too, that is they're also going to take this opportunity to help improve accessibility of the areas, which includes a new elevator exit from the Haunted Mansion so that it's easier for guests with disabilities to be able to exit the attraction. So I think that's really awesome that they're going to be working on that as well. So, okay, selfishly, my first thought after being wowed by this beautiful, this concept art, I would probably hang it in my house. It's gorgeous. But after the razzle dazzle of the concept art, the first thing I said, and I said it in the chat, was that I really need to go see the old Pet Cemetery area because I don't think that's going to be around much longer. I think the old Pet Cemetery that a lot of people don't know exists, but if you Google Maps it, you can see it from satellite view. Behind the exit of the attraction is an old area that is the original. I'm going to say it was original? Yeah, original Pet Cemetery. And they've kept it up. And if you're standing on an elevated area before you get into the Haunted Mansion, you can kind of peek back there, but really it's out of guest view. It's a backstage area. But they keep it up. And that was one of the things we asked when we were on our VIP tour guide, because I really wanted to go back there and I really wanted to see, because there's an elephant that's buried upside down, it looks like, so his feet are sticking up and his trunk's poke. Anyways, so I think that's going to go away. So the Haunted Mansion nerd in me needs to hell or high water find some way to get back there. It's not going to happen, but maybe. I believe in Disney magic. But I will say, very excited about the addition of a permanent structure for the exit gift shop area, because that area has just been expanding and growing as far as merchandise goes, because we do have the shop over on the opposite side of New Orleans Square that houses a lot of the Haunted Mansion merch. But they keep coming out with more and more Haunted Mansion and Nightmare Before Christmas merch that little shop, it's kind of overflowing. It's bursting at the seams with merch. So they've been putting more and more merch carts kind of crunched in this little area between the exit of the Haunted Mansion and what was the extended queue for Splash. So I think it's really nice that they're making a bigger footprint to be able to keep all of this stuff, kind of like at Walt Disney World, how there's that Memento Mori shop. So I think that makes sense. I also think that was kind of a weird area. It was a really hard transition spot between New Orleans Square and Critter Country, so I think this will kind of smooth it, and I think thematically it's going to work. I'm also...
Okay, so pause.
Yes.
So are you done with this?
Yes, we can talk about
Okay,
this.
let me talk about this then, because it seems like there's a few pieces here.
There are pieces.
This part, I'm very excited about. I think this shop is gorgeous. I think this is so much better than the like weird temporary. It just seemed like they had this idea to put stuff there, like you were saying, and then they just kind of were like, finally they came around to like, maybe we should do something. I do think what you said is 100% accurate. I think that it is going to better connect Tiana's Bayou Adventure with New Orleans Square through this building. It kind of provides that
it's a
connection.
Transition too.
Yeah. And I think it's going to kind of, I don't know. I felt that sometimes it felt a little cluttered around the exit of the mansion, and now it seems like it'll be contained to this building. So I think I like that. So in terms of that, love it.
I like the design of the building because they're designing the building like it's a carriage house. So it's not just like a random store next to the, it makes more sense thematically.
So are you going to this next?
So that's the exit side of the mansion. Now, on the opposite side of the mansion, so where they have been doing their temporary extended queue area, so it's going to go all the way back to, like we were saying, where the old Fast Pass distribution stuff was, which is also kind of butts up to the train tracks, and forward to where you actually enter into the mansion grounds. They're going to build this garden looking area that's going to act as the extended queue. I think this makes a lot of sense also because more often than not, I feel like they're utilizing this area for an extended queue for the mansion anyways. So I like that they're going to make it more than just switchbacks.
This messed with me. So I looked at the concept art,
hard to tell
and I could not figure out where it was. At first, I thought, oh, is this where the pet cemetery is? Like, is it on that side of the mansion, right? Like, because I didn't look too closely. I just saw the main thing. And I was like, huh. And then I looked at it again, and I said, is this where the gravestones are up on the hill? Like, are they building it into the hill? Because to me, like, I thought that whatever. So I was like, And then I looked at it, and I realized there was two landmarks in this concept art that made me realize where it is. First, they've got the curve of the walkway, and next to that curve is the like little smaller pet cemetery.
The current pet cemetery.
And I said,
in the queue.
This is they're gonna remove the wall that is currently there, and this is going to be in that section that kind of is not utilized at all right now. We saw it for storage. We tried to record there and got yelled at a couple visits ago. But did you notice this? I know you're going to talk about this, but I was talking. Did you notice that they have this nice covering?
I did. I think this is really cool that they're kind of fleshing out the Haunted Mansion grounds, and it looks like they're going to be plussing the grounds currently. Because if you've ever stood in that attraction queue when it's sunny and warm outside, they try their best, and they have little like umbrellas that they've popped up along.
But that's not really thematic.
And if you're not if you're not the lucky one to be in that shade, it's not helpful. It looks like they're going to have kind of more of a vine type thing.
It's like a gazebo thing that they have the plants
so it looks like
on.
They're going to have better shaded area there. And then also the new extended queue, so the part that's doesn't exist at all that they're building, is themed, and it's themed to the mansion. It's got all sorts of like tie-ins to characters that we know, like the one-eyed cat. I think they said something maybe with Madame Leota. I think that's really fun. So it reminds me, because what I really enjoy about Walt Disney World's Haunted Mansion is they've got a really cool queue where you're like kind of like through like a graveyard, and like there's crypts and stuff, and there's like little games you can play. This looks more beautiful though, because it's a garden.
So I know we're getting in the weeds here, but of course my analytical mind wants to ask about this. So look at this concept art. How does the queue flow here? So at first I thought maybe you'd come down the pathway and like curve into it, but I think it goes out and comes in.
I think it's the same way. I think it's the extended queue. So like if you're I think you're still going to enter into the
main
mansion
gates
over the gates, and this is going to be outside for when they need
extra
more stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be switchbacky kind of things within this themed area, but it's not just temporary switchback things.
Okay. So now that leaves the question,
how far out does that kick out into the current plaza? That I can't really tell by this concept art. From the angle of the concept art that they have provided, it appears that the fountain that is currently there is going to be removed, which I have mixed feelings on because it's such an iconic and historic part of that. Like, in my mind, it's always been part of New Orleans Square. So it's hard for me to, like, come to terms with it not being there. But on the flip side, that space in current times is not utilized very well. Because if it's not being used for an extended queue for the Haunted Mansion to, like, corkscrew around, it's not really being used.
So this is my least favorite part of this whole idea.
Yeah.
So I look at it, and I have a positive side, but let me talk about my negative first. I'm really sad to lose the fountain.
Yeah.
Because I do think it's been there for a long time, I think. And they even say that it says, we will make enhancements to the plaza adjacent to Tiana's palace. This area is one that holds a lot of memories and history. Mm-hmm. So, like, they acknowledge, and then they say, in a new elegant park, like I said, will be a place to relax and enjoy the ambience. Now, one thing I do enjoy is it looks like they're putting a stage here, which we've had Weekly Tiers already in the chat say that it's nice to have another location that's not in Tiana's palace because people need those tables to eat.
Yeah.
And sometimes people stay because they want to see the music. Yeah. Well, now you can see the music outside of it. Also,
and there's a lot of bands that are in this area. There's like a jazz band that kind of roams in New Orleans Square, but then you also have the Swashbucklers, the pirate band too. So I think it's nice for that entertainment to have more of a spot.
Sure.
Instead of just kind of, we're gonna just stand alongside the rivers here and,
The other pluses that I see is
shade.
I think that well, it's always been kind of shady, but it'll be nice to have more open walkway there. It'll be nice that when the train line comes out, that there'll probably be an area to kind of curve along the bush there, and it won't be blocking the walkway. Also, this gives me hope that they will have some extended queue for the mint julep bar.
That's true.
Because that's always been a bottleneck there, too. Somebody also brought up, in, I think, the comments of the Disney Parks blog, asking if they were going to add better or expanded bathrooms in this area, because the bathrooms in New Orleans Square, those are probably, if I had to guess, were probably the very busiest bathrooms in Disneyland. I feel like it is always busy there.
Yeah. They're off the beaten path, but there's not really, the New Orleans Square is such a popular area, and it's just that one small bathroom, unless you want to go back over to Frontierland, or, you basically have to almost practically exit Frontierland or practically exit Adventureland.
Yeah.
So it's just lacking, or go all the way over to Hungry Bear.
Yeah. So for me, end of the day, I'm sad if we lose the fountain, but I think overall it's probably is a net gain for the park.
The other thing that I want to talk about real quick, this took me by total surprise.
Yeah.
We did not hear any sort of rumors, any sort of whisperings.
Nope.
Nothing. And then, bam, here's the concept art and the announcement from Disney Parks blog. And I don't know why, but that made me so excited, because it seems like Disney's, how do I say this?
There's a leak somewhere that keeps...
I like finding out about it fresh from Disney.
Sure.
Versus hearing the rumor mill kind of get to it before Disney's allowed to, like, announce whatever their news is. Because the rumor mill can be correct, but it also cannot be correct. Sure. So I try not to trust the rumor mill until I hear it right from Disney. So I think this is really exciting. And again, it took me by surprise. One thing I will mention about the rumor mill is today when I was researching stuff before they announced this, I contemplated and I decided I better not, because we didn't have anything that made it make any sense. But there was talk of the two other eateries in New Orleans Square. So we've got Harbor Galley and then the Royal Street Veranda. How those might be
not the French Quarter?
No, the French Market's is Tiana's Palace. So
but there's another, the Cafe Orleans.
Oh yeah, Cafe Orleans. Not that one. but the little Royal Street Veranda.
The one we can't ever remember the name of.
The one that we always forget the name of, that one. And Harbor Galley, and how those might be getting some changes to the menu and to the restaurants themselves. Because Harbor Galley, which is hard because they just built Pelican's Landing, but fits, it does fit, but I could also see how they could tie it into the area a little bit better.
Sure.
So I could see, anyway, so they're talking about how there might be some changes coming to those, which I felt seemed maybe a little random, but now that we're seeing that they're kind of trying to use the space better and tie everything in together with the addition of Tiana's Bayou Adventure, that rumor makes a little more sense.
The other thing I'd like to say overall, I'm just happy to see, a lot of people are talking about like Disney we had a whole thing about it, about Disney's financial results and all that.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that Disney is still like, you know what? We're still going to invest and make some changes to make things better for people. So I'm happy about that.
Well, and the nice thing is it's not like this is doing anything necessarily for Disney. Yes, we're getting a shop, but we're getting a shop in a space that was already selling merchandise. So technically it's a new store, but kind of not really, because again, we already have merchandise being sold at that spot. So it's just a more permanent location for merchandise, but it's not something that directly, like, this is to make the park better.
Yeah.
Not something that's just to like
make them money.
Genie Plus, where it's making money more so. Now, next thing that I'm hoping for is let's hear about some new attraction, either new attractions in general or plans to like plus attractions. Because once Tiana's Bayou Adventure is wrapped and completed, there's no other attraction things on the horizon.
Sure.
I'm curious about that. But maybe it'll be time for Disney Forward by the time that rolls around.
Maybe. With Tiana's Palace opening next month, the menus and pricing have finally been revealed. The new menu features 2 different gumbo options, a Cajun spice half chicken, and a muffaletta sandwich, beef po' boy, Gulf shrimp and grits, and more. There are a few side options and even kids' meals options. Entrees range from $14.99 to $19.49, with sides from $3 to $5.99.
So, I'm going to say this off the bat. I was a little disappointed. I don't know why. The pricing seems a little higher to me than what I thought it had been at this location. I'm a little sad at that, but I could also be totally wrong. Other than that, there are some things here that I find really delicious looking, and I really, really, really want to try. What stands out to you, Tag, if anything?
So the Gulf shrimp and grits looks really good from the promotional photo here. I think I would try the 7 Greens gumbo with chicken and andouille sausage. I know that generally means that it's probably going to be a little spicier, which is hard for me, but whatever. Or maybe the house gumbo also kind of looks good. And then, of course, cornbread. I love cornbread.
The cornbread I'm curious about because Dusty Sage from Mice Chat reported that it was more like a dessert than like a dinner roll kind of cornbread.
But that's the kind of cornbread that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. I'm really curious to try that.
And then also, of course, this house-filled beignet looks great, except for it says that it's got a lemon filling, which I'm not as excited about.
So just to put all the rumors to rest, because I did see a lot of talk online, yes, Tiana's Palace is serving beignets. However, it is a filled beignet, but that does not mean our tried and true Mickey beignets are going anywhere. You can still get those at the Mint Julep Bar. Okay. They still exist.
I also see a cold brew.
I know. I'm so excited. We've got a permanent cold brew coming to Disneyland. There is also, we don't talk about it this week, but there's also a permanent cold brew coming to Aunt Cass's Cafe over in DCA. I'm loving all of the cold brew options so that I don't have to stand in line at Starbucks.
What's chicory?
Chicory is, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's something that they...
A blue flowered Mediterranean plant of the daisy family?
But, so it's something that they started adding to coffee when there was coffee rations.
Oh.
Back in the day.
So you think it'll be good?
Oh, I've had chicory coffee
before. And you like it?
If you go to New Orleans, and if you go to Cafe Du Monde, that's what they have a chicory blend coffee. So no, it's good.
So what are you excited about?
You're on it. Don't know why, but I'm really excited to try the Cajun spice half chicken.
That's too much food for you.
I would share it, obviously, but
if you and I are there, like I'm eating the grits and you're eating the
house-made chicory barbecue sauce, baked macaroni and cheese, and a coleslaw. This sounds like another awesome shareable dish
I don't know how we're going to eat all the stuff we're supposed to eat in the one day we have in the park.
No, we can't. Well, so we could. We're going to have to make a game plan, and I hate to say it, but we might have to push Tiana's Palace back
to the next trip
because it will still be there.
That's true.
We'll have to see if any of the Halloween time foods.
I feel like you have to get this.
The Ray Glow Cube.
Ray Glow Cube.
So
you make fun of me for Glow Cubes, but I feel like Ray Glow Cube is in your future.
He's so cute. I just love him so much.
Overall, excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope it's as good. I mean, I was telling we took some people for the first time to our trip, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and they all liked the food, and I said, it's really nice because Disneyland used to not have that great of food, but they have got some good food right now.
Really, truly, and honestly, if I had one complaint, I wish there was a sampler pack because I want to try all of it. I want to try the gumbo. I want to try the 7 Greens gumbo and the house gumbo. I want to try the Cajun half spice chicken. I want to try the beef po' boy.
That's how they get you. They just want you to come back.
I know.
But you just want like a tasting of everything.
Yeah, I just want a tasting of everything.
Okay.
Well, one of the last remaining thematic decorations for Splash Mountain has finally been swapped out. The Brer Fox, Brer Bear, and Brer Rabbit art in the Briar Patch shop have been replaced with some more generic wild animals.
I have to say that I think David at Fresh Baked is going to be very sad because every construction update, he goes over there and says...
And checks.
Still Brer Rabbit hanging out in here. Still hanging on.
And they haven't changed the name. It's still the Briar Patch. They haven't changed the name of the shop. Just some of the decor in the shop.
What do you think they'll theme it to?
I don't know.
I feel like they should theme it to like some type of not grocery store, but like market or something because it's like Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious about that.
Slowly, the last things of Splash Mountain.
I do think you can. I think the penny squishing machine is still back in Critter Country. So that might be the one last holdout.
Well, it's the end of August, and even though Disneyland has had Halloween merchandise for almost a month now, the parks are just now about ready for the season. This Friday, Halloween time officially kicks off at the resort with Haunted Mansion Holiday, the Halloween Screams fireworks, new holiday treats, and more. The season will run through Halloween on October 31st.
And the Mickey Pumpkin is made its way to Main Street. He is there. I love this pumpkin. I don't know why. It's just so cool. It's such a fun piece.
And now you have ears.
I have 2 pairs of ears. I have a Mickey Pumpkin problem, I realized.
I think so.
I have 2 sets of Mickey Pumpkin ears. I have a Mickey Pumpkin necklace, and you don't even know this because I bought this when you were gone. I have a Mickey Pumpkin top now, too.
Why are you obsessed with the Mickey Pumpkin?
He's just so cute. I didn't even realize I had a problem until, today.
The only thing I will say about the Halloween season coming in is I really hope that when Halloween and the holiday time is over, that the fireworks show, the Wondrous Journeys comes back, because that is a really good fireworks show.
It is a great fireworks show. But if you walk around the parks right now, a lot of Cars Land has their decorations up. The purple bunting is up in DCA. The bats are coming out of the tower. So Halloween time's right around the corner. There's a couple key missing things, like the Headless Horseman has not appeared in DCA yet. Main Street has a bunch of little decor and stuff. So it's slowly creeping in. So I'm really excited to see this.
I think you're even more excited to see the next story.
The first Oogie Boogie Bash parties are just around the corner, and Disney is teasing some new additions. The first teaser was a barrel of A1 solvents with a shoelace hanging off and a stenciled turpentine sign on the side. The second is a fly-through of San Francisco Square glitching out. This could only mean that Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit is coming, along with Yokai, the villain from Big Hero 6.
So I would never... Judge Doom was not on my bingo card.
Mm-mm.
And Yokai, I feel like, also was not on my bingo card.
Okay, Yokai makes a lot of sense, because the day before Halloween season starts is when San Francisco Square is officially open. So that synergy, that's like park synergy. We haven't seen the park synergizing with itself.
Sure.
So that makes sense. And then, because I was on that train of thought, I was like, oh, and it totally makes sense that Toontown just got a revamp. So we have wait a minute. Oogie Boogie Bash is not in Disneyland, so it is not in the refreshed land that Judge Doom would be from, but still. So I'm curious about this. I will say, when they first teased this, my immediate thought was, Madam Mim, please don't replace Madam Mim. For all of the other Madam Mim fans out there, her set has appeared. People have taken photos. Mim will be back. Bruno, his photo backdrop had also been
Do you think
spotted.
Agatha's still going to be there? She was cool.
I think Agatha will still be there because I don't think Judge Doom would go in where the space that Agatha was, nor do I think... I'm curious where they're going to put these two. Because they'll put trails.
They'll put yokai in San Francisco Square.
Yeah, but I'm kind of curious how they're going to do that because they'd have to. I feel
they'll
like
put it where Baymax is normally. I'll bet.
You think?
Yeah,
I don't know
because that's already going to be set up for that type of stuff.
True.
Yep. True. Or maybe over by the Ghirardelli thing because that's like an easy in out.
That could be.
We'll wait and find out. So I don't know where they'll put the Judge Doom though.
I don't know where Judge Doom's going to go either. And I'm trying to think what other what. The only person I'm a little nervous about is Dr. Facilier. I love him. I absolutely love him.
I don't think he'll go anywhere because he's also in the parade.
He's moved, like, each year I've gone, he's been in a different spot, so I'm a little worried about him. And it's a little tough for him because not only does he have the interactive treat trail, but he also has to make an appearance in the 2 showings of the parade. So he can't be at his treat trail and also
you know who might be gone?
Parade.
Ernesto de la Cruz may be gone.
I think Ernesto. He might be gone too. But
you can put Judge Doom in there.
I feel like Facilier might make sense. As much as I love him, since he's in the parade and also treat trailing, they have to pause his treat trail during each of the parades. So,
that makes sense.
So I don't know. I hope Ernesto's back because he was super, super cool.
He did look cool.
And crazy. He was crazy popular as well.
True. Well, this fall at the Disneyland Resort, there are a lot of plant-based options for guests to eat. The Disney Parks blog featured their top 5 items. Options include a soy chorizo country breakfast burrito, a curry royale Queen of Hearts delight, and more. Most of the items are available now or will be by September 12th.
I know we've talked a lot of food last week especially, and also this week, so I will be brief on this one. Very, very excited that there's more plant-based options coming to the resort because every single one that we've had has been super delicious, and I get excited about these plant-based offerings.
Spoiler alert for later. One of the people that went with us on this last trip, friends of ours, we joke that he eats like a 5-year-old because he's very limited with like stuff that he wants to eat. He loves like chicken nuggets and burgers and whatever.
Oh, like a 5-year-old.
He tried some of the Impossible meat and thought it was really good.
But I'm really excited. The one thing that's on like my want to try list is the sopas de chorizo con papas. I don't know why, but yum! Like they just look so delicious.
That's interesting because I look at this and I go, that doesn't look like anything. This one? Oh, okay.
You're looking at the quesadilla.
Okay. I always get confused. Like, I wish they would put the title and then the picture and then the description.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's picture then title. But it looks delicious. You can get the sopas de chorizo at the Hollywood Lounge. I'm starting today as we record this. But it looks good. Features refried beans, lettuce, and pico de gallo. Well, then
I'm not a
for
beans
me.
person.
It just looks delicious. Also, at the Hollywood Lounge, you may not know this because I don't know if you listened to last week's podcast or looked at any of the links, but they have a glow cube at the Hollywood Lounge that has piqued my interest.
Oh.
Who knew I was going to
Suddenly
be a glow
you're going to be the
glow
cube person.
But it's a little bottle. I think it's wormswort. But it looks like a
sounds up
little
your alley.
bottle.
That sounds up your
They're
alley.
up in their glow cube game, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I really like their Impossible and like all their plant-based stuff because I think they season it really well.
Oh, it's so good.
Like before, like I don't know if I would have tried it, but I'm glad you tried it because then that made me try it or allowed me to try it, and now I'm like, that's really good.
So yummy. Well, the villas at the Disneyland Hotel open at the end of September, where you can see a new hidden Mickey-filled mural inspired by Disney animation. The mural, created by associate production designer on Encanto, Lorelei Bove, will greet guests when they enter the new tower. The mural is also available to download at the link in our show notes, so you can have this mural as your backdrop on your computer, which is so fun.
Or phone or whatever.
Tablet.
Yeah, this looks cool. I like the fact that there's a bunch of like hidden Mickeys and it's got a lot of like Disney animated things in it. I'm curious to see like in person in the tower how big this is going to be.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be really neat. Murals are really underrated, I think, at the Disneyland Resort, because there's a couple of them, and they've always been great. So
some characters that I'm just quickly spotting here: Sorcerer Mickey. We've got Baymax is in the background there. Mulan, Tiana, Raya, Bambi, Peter Pan's up in the corner there. So it touches a bunch of different genres and times of Disney animation. So I think that's really, really fun.
And the Disney Parks blog did an interview with the artist, and that is at the link in our show notes as well. Starting January 20th, 2024, there will be some changes coming to Disneyland Resort hotel guests. Early entry will allow ticketed guests with valid park admission and reservations to enter a designated theme park each day of their stay at a Disneyland Resort hotel. Each day, either Disneyland or California Adventure will be open early instead of the current early entry into both of the parks.
This is interesting to me because pre-parks closure, when early entry, maybe it's called Extra Magic. I think that was what it was called.
Extra Magic Hour.
Was open, and it was an hour, and it was one park or the other park. So the kind of consolidation when they cut it back to a half an hour was that, well, but you can choose which park you want to go to for that. Yes, it's only 30 minutes. It's a shorter period of time, but you have choices. So this feels a little weird to me that it's still 30 minutes and now it's limited to one park or the other park. And the other thing that's a little tough with that too, we still have reservations. So what if your reservation for your starting park is opposite of the park that's open?
And you can't use it
30 minutes. So we're still kind of trying to feel this one out. I've seen on the internet, some people are excited about this and think this is still a benefit. Some people not so excited about this. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle because I'm not understanding the benefit. I only see the not benefit. So I feel like I got to do more research.
Okay, so you know me, for a long time, I've been anti-stay on property at Disneyland because I just don't think it's worth the premium. I think cutting it down, first of all, I think it should be at least an hour, period. Like, a half an hour is not that much time in the grand scheme, especially if you're paying the Disney premium. However, for me, and I know that this is meant more for families, but I would be more likely to pay a premium and stay on property if the park remained open an additional hour at night, because you know me and nighttime. So I think that would be a better benefit. I don't think it's that big of a deal that they pop back and forth, that it's one park open or the other, because back in the day,
except for the reservations.
Yeah, way back in the day, when I first went to Disneyland, my mom and stuff would get these tickets, and we would have early entry into the park because it was like a special ticket you'd get. You didn't have to stay on property, and we'd get it an hour early, and it would switch back and forth, and it wouldn't even be every day. It'd be like every other day or something like that. And so, yeah, I can see how people would be frustrated, and some people don't think it's a big deal, though. It's kind of all over the place.
The one thing that I want to just quickly mention, too, we have not utilized this, so we're not experts in this by any means, but there are only limited attractions that are open in each park. So in Disneyland, it looks like it's
mostly
it looks like it's Fantasyland and Tomorrowland, and not even all of Fantasyland, just most of Fantasyland, because Matterhorn is not on this list. So Disneyland Park, what is open for this extra early entry 30 minutes? Alice in Wonderland, Astro Orbiter, Buzz Lightyear, Disneyland Monorail, Dumbo, The Carousel, Mad Tea Party, Mr. Toad, Peter Pan, Pinocchio, Snow White, Space Mountain, and Star Tours. And then over in DCA, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a good one.
The Incredicoaster, The Little Mermaid, Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, Monsters, Inc., Soarin', and Web Slinger. So fewer open there. There's also a small selection of shops and like breakfast places. So like the Cappuccino Cart is open in DCA for this extra 30 minutes as well. So it's also, I guess 30 minutes makes more sense when you see the shortened list of attractions.
It still seems like,
I don't know.
Yeah. There were a lot of people using it, though, when we were there, because they had the little section that was just for hotel guests. There was quite a few people going that way.
That's good. Well, the updated dining reservation system that we spoke about previous has now gone live. Guests can now tap the Check Dining Availability button in the menu and enter the party size, date, and time window to see what's available at the resort. This is a much better, more reliable, and way easier to navigate system than the old system, which would sometimes not show all of the open times.
We used this on this trip.
I used this too. This is how I got our wine country tutorial stuff.
It was great because
it's so easy.
I made a boo-boo, and because we had a 3-year-old with us, I wanted to book the mini character dining at the Plaza Inn, and I was so excited that I booked it. And then I was reviewing our days, and I realized that I booked it for the day after we left. So it was very nice to have this ability, because so many times I've tried to book dining when we've been in the park, and I'll hit like morning and like nothing will show up, but then I'll hit like 9 a.m. and then there's a spot, and it's like, why? Yeah. So this is much better. It was a great system.
Well, and the other thing too, because like when I just booked Wine Country for Tag and I to start our Oogie Boogie Bash party night, I want to go at 3:30. What is that? Do I like in the old system? Is that lunch? Is that dinner? Like it's kind of this weird no man's land dining time but that's what I want. So I like being able to just search through what the times are so I can pick what makes the most sense for what we're looking for.
I don't know why it hasn't worked this way since the beginning, but I'm glad it works this way now.
Me too.
Well, if you tuned into our public live stream on YouTube this past Sunday, you heard us talk about Disney Lorcana, the new deck-building game from Ravensburger. The game went on sale at Disney Pin Traders in downtown Disney on Monday morning. They had a good amount of stock on hand that morning, but your mileage may vary because it is a very popular game.
I think they did sell, the stock they had, they did sell out that day.
If you want to learn more about Lorcana, go to youtube.com/DLWeekly and look at our live stream for August, and we talk at length about it. Teresa's played it.
This was a bad thing. A Disney game. Yeah, it's real fun. And I just found out that one of our local game stores is going to be hosting tournaments and having a league, and now that might be getting added to my calendar of things to do, because it all just sounds so fun.
Like you don't have enough to do.
I think the thing that's the most exciting to me, yes, of course, the characters, the art is gorgeous, but they built it to be like more accessible for new gamers. So like I'm not somebody I'm new to card games, very new to card. Like this is the first card game I've ever like picked up, and it's not scary. Like they make it very easy to learn. It's fun. Even how they have like the league set up, it's not all about winning.
Sure.
Like you can get points for like teaching somebody how to play, or you can
that's
get
nice.
So it's not all about like beating the snot out of your opponent and there's a winner and a loser. It's kind of like everyone's a winner. This is just about like community and having fun. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. I want to play it, but I'm worried that I'm going to fall into the rabbit hole you have. And I don't know if we're in a position to do that right now, but we'll see.
Your attention, please. DL Weekly Trivia is now leaving for a Grand Circle tour of the Magic Kingdom, with stops at New Orleans Square, Mickey's Toontown, and Tomorrowland. All weekly tiers, boy!
Hello and welcome to Trivia Land. We'll see how long you can keep me in here today. I get to be in the discussion topic.
Halloween has hit Trivia Land a little early.
Yeah, I think it has too.
Maybe. Anyway, I got 4 and a bonus question for you this week. So I hope you're ready. In honor of the big Haunted Mansion news, our first one is a true or false question. True or false, the Haunted Mansion building is inspired by a real house in New Orleans.
True.
False.
Those are very quick answers.
See, I think it's true because I think James and I walked by a house in New Orleans when we were there that was supposedly the inspiration. You have this look like I know better, so we'll see.
Yes, we will see. Question number 2. At least at one point, there were 3 marionettes at the exit of Pinocchio's Daring Journey, allegedly representing the past, present, and future of the park. What are the 3 marionettes?
What do you mean, what are the 3 marionettes?
Wow.
The 3 marionettes are like different like dolls or styles of dolls or
Really?
have something, yes.
I've not heard this one, so I don't know.
I don't... It's supposed to represent the past, present, and future?
Of the park, yep.
I don't know.
I'm curious on this one.
I'm going to say the 3 fairies, just because.
Sure. I even have a picture for you later.
Okay.
Not that helps a podcast that's audio only. Hooray! Third question comes from listener Todd B., The question is, on the Incredicoaster, how many times does Jack Jack appear?
Oh, no. So, funny story with this. I was trying to prep because I'm like, someone's going to ask this question. So, there was a time, I think I was sitting with a weekly tier in the front row, and I was counting the Jack Jacks because there's all the, like, he multiplies at the end, right? So, there's all these Jack Jacks on, I call him Jack Jack on a stick because he's on a stick. So, I was sitting there counting. Do you think I remember this?
No.
Okay, let me think. One.
So are you saying the whole attraction?
On the whole attraction,
Okay.
yes. So including when
And
he
the baby is
multiplies.
gone. Are you saying every time he like shows up, so like in the beginning where he's teleporting around the room?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Mm.
But we count that I think as one. So
one.
just one appearance in the room there.
2.
I think at least.
I'm going to say
3.
I'm going to say 8.
4. 5.
I'm going to say 18.
I'm gonna say 16.
16 and 18. All right. Our fourth question comes from listener Savannah F. What was the opening day attraction that occupied the space where Ariel's undersea adventure now resides?
Golden Dreams.
Yeah, Golden Dreams. I was going to say Whoopi Goldberg was it?
I just watched a video or something about this, so good timing.
And your bonus question.
We have a bonus.
Bonus question.
Who are you?
Related to this. Hey, thanks Savannah for a great idea. Whoopi Goldberg portrayed the host of this attraction. Who is the host?
Do you know this? I know this.
Oh, like the character?
What is her
The
character?
She was the sun.
She was the Spirit of California.
Oh. Yeah.
Or the...
I'm looking for a name, actually.
Oh, crap. She was... she was...
I did not ever experience
the
this
Spirit of
attraction.
California? No. She was like... I don't know what the name is, though,
Fun
James.
fact, my first time going to Disneyland, when DCA was open, it was construction walls, and
They'd already closed it, yeah.
Little Mermaid was coming soon.
I really liked the show because it talked about like some history things in
Yeah.
California and about how like California was the land of opportunity and
Yeah.
everything. Like it was, I really liked it. Golden Dreams. That was a great show.
All right, that's 4 questions plus a bonus. We'll see how they did this week. But first, we got a discussion topic. Take me with you.
Well, this week we are going to chat some more with James and Tag because they just got back from a family trip to the parks. They spent 3 days in Disneyland, and one of those days just happened to be the tropical storm that went through. So they kind of have a unique experience in being at the parks during that tropical storm on Sunday the 20th. So
I will say
that was the end of the trip. So we will
Super unique.
get there at the end.
First
Yeah.
ever like hurricane tropical storm to go through that part of California. So definitely once in a lifetime.
this trip was very unique for me
Well, for multiple reasons.
because not only was it me and James and you and Werner, no other podcast people were there, but we had our exchange student Maro who had just arrived like a couple days before. And we had our friends Jason and Michelle, who we're planning on having them in a future episode to talk about their experience. It's date to be determined. But they were their first time at Disneyland. And their 3-year-old son, Otto, who it was obviously his first time at Disneyland. And so there was just a lot. And then, of course, we had the tropical storm that came through. We had, just all this stuff. So it was cool. I want to say up front that I was very happy with our friends Jason and Michelle because they were very nice and indulged me in dumping all of my Disney facts on them. And they really, actually, truly, I felt, because they said this, but I believed them, that they enjoyed it. And they asked me questions, so it wasn't like, usually if you're not interested, you won't ask a question. You'll just kind of leave it alone. But it was good. James, what was your experience like on this trip?
I think what was interesting is it started so differently than what we usually do because we kind of rope dropped a little bit of a later start to it. Peter Pan, because we wanted to get the 3-year-old built up to start seeing the attractions because Otto's just over 40 inches tall. And so that gave us access to a lot of attractions. And so it definitely gave us an option of what could we go on and how will he do? And he did great on Peter Pan. But then after that, we stopped attractions and went to a character breakfast. And so that was neat because that was our first time ever doing a character breakfast, and they really make the rounds. We were at Plaza Inn, and I really enjoyed it. There are a lot of cool characters. They really made sure to interact and spend time with you, which I think is different from a lot of the other character interactions we've necessarily run into. And so there was definitely a lot of value there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I've never been to a character dining event at any Disney park. And so I was I was excited to do this. And with the Minnie's breakfast, you check in, they put you in a very small queue to get a picture with Minnie, like right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And then you walk up to the front door, they tell you where all the different stations are. It's a buffet. You can go up and get as much as you want. They had, of course, mini waffles. They had
Minnie, not Mickey?
Mini, I think it was mini waffles, wasn't it?
I think they call it Mickey waffles, but
they had one of the Mickey or mini waffles. I thought it was mini waffles, but I could be wrong. James's favorite spot, which was the omelet station, like that would create an omelet for you. They had some French toast. They had some fruit. It was a very good spread of stuff, and it was very good. And then the characters we were on, if you just walked in the front door, I've never even eaten on this side of the plaza, and it was on the right-hand side.
Really?
I've never eaten on the right. I've always gone to the left or outside. And
I must have eaten over there without you.
You did. So we went over there, and we had a good spot. And the characters, it was great timing because we were able to eat because the characters are kind of elsewhere in the restaurant at that time. And then they started coming around. We had Tigger, we had Chip and Dale, which they were hilarious. Like, they were separate. Like, they didn't come at the same time. But both of them had a lot of fun and spent a lot of time with Otto and stuff. We had Winnie the Pooh, which James got a photo with because Winnie the Pooh's like his favorite. Right, James?
Oh, yeah.
We had, what's the mouse from that wears like the purple or the blue dress?
Oh, yeah, one of the, it depends on what she's wearing, but she's one of the mice from Cinderella.
There was that. Who else was there,
You're forgetting
James?
Max from a Goofy movie and Tigger.
Max was there, huh?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Max was there. Yeah, so that was really what?
You didn't say Tigger.
I didn't say Tigger?
No,
Swore I said Tigger. I thought I said Tigger like the very first thing. Yeah, and Jason's favorite character is Tigger, so of course Jason got a picture with Tigger, and that was really great. So overall, really good. The food was good. It was cheaper than I thought. For some reason, I thought it was the same price as like the other dining things where it was like $60-something, but it was $41, I believe, for adults and like $24 for kids. So I was like, oh, this is cheaper than I thought it was. So it worked out really well. The other dining experience we had, I'm kind of going out of order here, is we did do the Lamplight Lounge brunch, which
you guys were all about breakfast.
We made a huge mistake because 3 of us, not me, but 3 people in our group got the chilaquiles, which they probably
That's
shared
never
one.
a mistake to order the chilaquiles.
No, it wasn't a mistake,
but
but it was a mistake for ordering so much.
Yeah.
Oh.
I almost got through mine.
He did.
But
But
2 of them would have been good.
Morrow and Michelle like ate, and it just didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Jason got like the breakfast burger, and I got the French toast, which was good. And of course the 2319.
Potatoes flautas. Those were
Yeah.
so good.
We did ask for the office, but I learned something from a cast member this trip. They said you can't ask for it. They said if you ask, you'll never get it. That they pick you to go to the office.
Yeah.
So if you ask for it, they'll never do it, which I think is true because when I asked the lady, I said, is the special like room that's really cool available? And the lady was like, and then the next server over was like, nope, it's not. And so I was like, that was weird.
I mean, that makes sense because I'm sure they get asked
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And that kind of, to me, that takes the magic out of it a little bit. If you like ask to get back, like it's cooler that it's like a surprise. I guess.
You know where I heard it from? I heard it from a guest relations cast member, which I'll talk about that story in a little bit later. And he said he used to work at Lamplight, and he said they won't ever give it to you if you ask.
There you go.
They just choose you. They make the magic.
That makes sense. I like that. I do really like that.
So we just have to eat there more. Increase our chances.
It's a good thing we have reservations to go with friends when we're there next, maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
James, what else did we do?
We kind of tooled around in Fantasyland and Toontown, and like it was cool to have that experience with the youngin'. I feel like this might be taken away from when we talked to Jason and Michelle, but we learned how many attractions have storms in them.
Because Otto doesn't like thunderstorms, And there's a lot of things that have thunderstorms that we didn't realize. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway has the tornado, and that was the first big attraction we went on. And he generally liked it until that section. Then he liked after that section, but didn't like that section.
And then he asked to go on it again.
He did ask to go on it again later. By the way, it was walk-on. We walked right onto it.
I think adding Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is helping with Rise, and I think Rise is then helping with I think they're helping balance each other out as far as cues and demands go, which I think is good. That's because we now need something like that for DCA because Radiator Springs is kind of like the thing.
Yeah.
And there's not something that's kind of balancing that out, so that's always just a crazy wait.
And that was down for refurbishment while we were there, so that really hit DCA.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Speaking of DCA, did you guys get to go see Rogers the Musical?
So I set a reminder in the phone to get the virtual queue. It rang. I got in. I got a virtual queue spot.
Nice.
I even got the virtual queue for the very specific showtime we wanted. Sounded great. We went to check in, and they said, "We're sorry, folks. Rogers the Musical is this showtime, and the next showtime after this are canceled.
Oh.
But don't delete your virtual queue in the app because you can come back for the afternoon show, and they'll accommodate you." And we said, okay. But then we got a notification later that said that the 2 afternoon shows had been canceled.
Interesting.
So we were not able to do Rogers the Musical because we were only in DCA with our whole group the one day. And the last day we were there where we could have tried to do it again was the storm day, and they had canceled all live entertainment. So we also hit that because Michelle really wanted to watch the Lion King show. Yeah. And that had times in the app, but when we showed up to the theater, they had closed shows for the day, so the app had not updated. So that was kind of a bummer there.
Let's continue on that train of thought. Let's talk about what it was like to be there for the tropical storm.
Let me say one more thing.
Okay.
Day one, we were just in Disneyland. The 3-year-old, we hit so many attractions. Lines were the lowest I've ever seen them in years. I commented to James, I commented to Jason, Michelle, I said, we're very lucky. I have not seen lines this low in years. Like, when I used to go in the early 2000s, it felt like that. A lot of lines were 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It was wonderful. And that was not a tropical storm day.
But you were also there before all tiers of Magic Keys were open.
That is true, but also it was the first week back at school for Southern California. So a lot of that. It did get busier at night, which I told everybody in our group that it was going to get busier because we watched the fireworks that night and it was busy. Mm-hmm. So anyway, our first day was great. We got on a lot of things. We ate a lot of stuff. Everybody had a great time. Our second day was DCA. And we did pretty good. Again, Radiator Springs Racers was down, which is weird. This trip, I did not set foot in Avengers Campus. No. James and Morrow went on the last day we were there on, you guys went.
We rode Guardians that day, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they rode Guardians, and then they rode Guardians the next day as well.
Because we rode Guardians because you did take in a show that day. You went to the Disney Junior Live show.
That's true.
This is how much Tag apparently does not enjoy Guardians anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
It's true. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I have to really be in the mood for it, and I just haven't been in the mood.
I think it'd be fun if we got a gantry lift full of weekly tiers.
I mean, I would do that for sure.
Blast.
But I went into, this is 2 stories in one, but I went into the Disney Junior Live thing because we had a 3-year-old. I was like, perfect. Mm-hmm. I feel like I have a reason to be in here. I don't feel weird. The only thing that was strange is they brought us in, and they kept just like, move forward, and like there was no more room, and they're like, move forward. So like they're just trying to show a bunch of people in there. Yeah. The show, from what I remember, and there's a reason I only sort of remember it, was cute. The criticism from Jason and Michelle with their 3-year-old was he was very excited because at the beginning Mickey and Minnie call in and they're talking about like coming to this party, and they only show up at the very end. Yeah. And so they thought that like Otto was very disappointed that like it was just at the end Mickey and Minnie showed up because he likes Minnie and Mickey so much. But we saw Vampirina, we saw Doc McStuffins.
And those might be characters that
play Disney.
Well, and he might be too young to be watching those
Jason and Michelle were like, I don't know who any of these people are.
Yeah,
he watches Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah, but it was enjoyable. The reason I don't remember a lot of it is because I sometimes will get a survey from Disney when we've traveled, and usually I'll wait till after the trip, and always it's like, it's expired, you've missed your time frame. So I got one that day, and before the show started, I'm like, oh, I'll go in. It's just a short survey. It's never been a long survey.
What are you talking about?
Well, the ones I've taken have never been that long. Well, this one wanted to know everything about every member I was with, all the attractions I went on. Why did I rate something lower than something else? Literally, the last 3 minutes of the show was when I finished this survey, and I was like, I did not expect to be doing this for the 25 minutes I did it.
They're intense. Yeah.
But I wanted to give my feedback. Yeah, so that was a good show. They went and rode Guardians, and it was great. Anyway, so the last day, Tropical Storm. I knew from the past that Californians melt in the rain.
But to be fair, this was predicted to be much more
severe,
terrible,
yeah,
than what ended up happening
in our
Anaheim,
hotel
thankfully.
that morning. We were getting breakfast, and the TV was like, the world was coming to an end. And I wasn't too worried because I was looking at the weather maps, and I'm like, well, it'll probably rain really hard later, but for now, it's not too bad. We went out, and it was barely sprinkling.
And
we're
different
good.
areas obviously got
100%
worse than where you were.
Our area in Anaheim did not seem bad throughout the whole day. So we went to Disneyland, and James, why was the last day we were there so amazing?
Because there was nobody there. The first ride that we went over to was Tomorrowland in that area because we hadn't been to Tomorrowland yet with the group. And so, yeah, I know. So we split up. Some people went on Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters, and the rest of us went on Space Mountain. Finally, we got on Space Mountain, and it was...
And how long did it take to get on Space Mountain?
It took us 10 minutes to walk to the ride and about 30 seconds to wait in the queue. It was 2 cars, and then you were loaded in and good to go. It was just that quick.
Very nice.
And please state for the record, sir, every time you rode it that day, what was the queue like?
Same. Yeah, it was always 5 minutes. Just walk as fast as you can, and you'll get there.
I was being a lurker, and I was watching on the app wait times that day because I was just very curious what was going on.
James is always sad because he loves Space Mountain, but we always go left.
You always go left.
And so by the time we get around...
This trip you went forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then we rounded left.
And the thing is by the time we get over, it always has a long wait. Nobody wants to wait and all this stuff. So we made up for it because how many times do you think you rode it?
I think I got on it 4 times.
Yeah.
And the first 3 times... no, there were 1 or 2 later.
Gotcha.
But the first 3 times at least, without asking, I got front row.
Nice.
So it was amazing.
Yeah.
I got to ride with different people every time to have different experiences. It was pretty great to be back on that.
James was very happy.
But that wasn't as crazy as the end of our night with the tropical storm, though. So we ate dinner at Rancho. Tig overestimated his spice tolerance with tacos.
You forgot about how spicy they were?
I forgot about the green salsa. And I was like, oh, that was a mistake. Because I was trying to help Morrow order because there was a communication issue between the people and Morrow.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tag decides he just wants to chill. And I'm like, we got park hoppers. I think Morrow and I should go back and ride Guardians again. Because at that point, DCA was closing at 9. Disneyland was closing at 10.
But also, you're leaving out an important thing.
Oh, okay.
We've been watching the map. And Incredicoaster and Midway Mania had been down all day.
Oh.
And Radiator Springs is not open.
Yep, because there was refurb.
So
but that park was super empty still because the longest wait I think was 10 or 15 minutes for Soarin'.
Yeah.
Guardians had listed 13, which we think was a carryover from Tower of Terror days. And Morrow had mentioned that he really wanted to ride Incredicoaster. And I'm like, well, let's get over. We'll ride Guardians again. And then we'll walk over to Pixar Pier and see what's up.
Oh, so at that point he hadn't ridden Incredicoaster.
We rode once.
Oh, so he wanted to ride again.
Yeah, he wanted to ride again. He loves thrill rides, and that is the thrill ride. So we did Guardians, and I'm like, let's walk through Avengers Campus because we haven't seen that, and we'll see if Pixar Pier and Midway Mania is open because it looked like Midway Mania was open on the app. Mm-hmm. And so as we're walking over and up, just past Lamplight, the Incredicoaster's running, and so we just bolt right to the line.
James texted me that they were going to go do that, and I said, oh, I would also like to ride that. I will come over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was excited to ride Midway Mania with us, not really realizing Incredicoaster was such an option too. So literally, we bolt through the Incredicoaster queue. We're walking down, and she's just telling everyone, like, 4 or 5, we got put in row 8, and we were the last people to get in the car.
Whoa.
So there were still a bunch of seats behind us. Next time, or we go again, I think we wait for the front row or something on that one, and then Tage shows up. And the cast member really nicely lets us go through the exit shortcut so that we can meet up with Tage and ride with him. And so we did that. I sat out the next one. My back was starting to bother me a little bit, but Tage and Maro
James
rode
didn't
again.
like the rain in his face because he's like, I can't even open my eyes.
It was terrible. You know the
goggles.
You know the trivia question with Jack multiplying?
Yeah.
I was hoping to verify it. I could
Like,
not.
I can't see.
But I will tell you, the first time we rode it, and no, I think it was every time we rode it that night, the audio was not working.
Oh.
There were a few sound clips that were working, like Mr. Incredible going, Cookie.
Those are in the tunnel.
Yeah, that's why it was working, but like no music, no Edna talking.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as weird
Interesting.
as my Disneyland Paris experience of Hyperspace Mountain in Silence, because that one was super weird. But like this one was definitely like, you're missing out without
Yeah.
the music.
I
Yeah.
can't even like wrap my head around what it would be like to ride the Incredicoaster without that like, dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
you know, like intense, like exciting music.
What's really interesting is you don't realize what's on car and what's not when you're riding. So,
Sure, yeah.
So now for our listening audience, obviously dash code 54321, and that's all on the side of the thing. That's
Okay,
not in your
yeah.
car. When you go up and there's any of the like tunnels and voices in the tunnels, that's in the tunnel.
That makes
Some
sense.
of them, at
So when
least.
she said like, "Oh, don't go gooey," like that's in
Yeah.
the tunnel, and then like cookie, like that's all in the
Mhm.
tunnel. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. And then at the end, like there's some Jack like laughing, but you don't have the Edna saying like you know when you come around that last corner and
Oh,
Edna's
yeah, yeah.
there. It's just him laughing, which sounded creepy without Edna also talking in the music.
Yeah.
So, but it was a lot of fun. We also went on Midway Mania,
Mhm.
and that was good. They were doing something weird though, because they were only loading some cars, and so like the queue felt artificially long because they were like
Sure.
they were cycling through a bunch of cars at the same time. It was very strange.
That's where we ended, because when we were in line for Midway Mania, we passed 9 o'clock, and so the park was closed. So we opted to go back to Disneyland, and the queue for Star Wars Rise of the Resistance was 0 minutes. I've never seen
I didn't know that was possible. I thought 5 was the lowest.
Well, the other thing too is I thought they always closed at 8,
yeah, I thought
but
they
this
closed
night the
early.
park was closing at 10,
Yeah.
which was early because it was supposed to
Yep,
close at midnight. In the app it said Rise closes at 10. So we walked over there. I'm like, it's going to be closed. Like the app is just wrong. We walk over there. We literally, the line is so short that they put people through the lightning lane line
Sure.
because you don't have to walk through the whole queue.
You just get right to it.
We walked right into the little thing. It wasn't even full. Like we walked into the next thing. It was so empty that actually both times, but it was so empty that when we went in, when we got rescued and we got
Yeah.
into the car, there was only one car. There wasn't a second car they loaded. And we went
Oh.
solo.
Yeah.
And, which meant we got to go up the cool elevator.
So you were the front car?
Yeah. For the whole thing. But what's weird is, you know how like there's like the bridge and you see the other car? It's weird when there's no other car. But it was really cool. But both the times we rode Rise, it was only the one car. So I'm not sure what's going on. They did have some problems. This is something I want to talk about quick too. We waited twice in line for
the
over an
course,
hour.
Yeah, over the course. So not that day, but
Not
over
that
the
day.
course of
But we
the
waited
trip.
twice in line for Rise. And both times they were like, it's down, but we're not going to empty the queue. I asked a cast member at the exit, I said, you know, I remember before, like, if something broke down, like, you'd get an anytime fast pass for something else. And they said they only give that out if they dump the queue. So they hadn't dumped the queue, they don't give that. So I was frustrated after the second time, and we had spent over 2 hours of our
Yeah.
trip in a line for a ride we have not been able to ride. So we went over to DCA. I saw there was no line for guest services. I went over and talked to guest services.
So was it day one that you
Day
tried
2.
getting on there?
Oh,
Day one we
Two
tried.
is
Yeah.
when you talked to guest
Correct.
services.
So day 2, I said, look, hi. I don't usually complain that much about this stuff, especially like guest services. Like, I know it's whatever, but we've spent the equivalent of the maximum amount of time we'd ever have to wait for this ride. We should have been able to ride. And so the guy was like, okay, well, our party didn't have park hoppers, and the second day was only DCA. So I said, there's 6 of us, and we'd really like to ride it, but not till tomorrow. He said, well, I can't load anything onto your account now because it's only good for that day.
Yep.
I'll put a note on your ticket. Tomorrow, stop at a guest service podium. He said the one by Matterhorn is always empty. He said the one over by Mansion, always empty. He
Yeah.
said, go there.
Yeah.
We went to the one by Matterhorn, and the guy there got us our passes on there, and they were for Rise. Technically, if you want to be weird about it, the Rise Lightning Lane was $25, so we basically got the equivalent of $150 worth of free Lightning Lanes to go.
I didn't know that they gave those paid ones out for free, so that's
Well, they did because I
surprising.
was upset about it,
Yeah,
but I was
but
also
still,
nice
yeah.
and polite. And the guy was really apologetic, and we had the conversation about him working at Lamplight and everything. So he was really nice. I still have to put in my compliment for him, but he was really great. But yeah, we had a great time, and we were able to walk on a lot of that last day. Like everything was walk on. So we did a lot of Fantasyland again. We did the Big Thunder was down for a good chunk of the day, but we did eventually get to ride that.
I'm just surprised that so many of these attractions that are outdoor were still going on Sunday with the rain.
Matterhorn, we went on twice in the rain.
I thought there's
Alice?
so many that I thought they'd...
Alice is closed.
Yeah. Well,
Teacups closed.
Yeah, I think-
Storybook Land Canal Boat's closed.
Alice, I think they have... Well, not Alice. Teacups, I think they have to because I think the platform
Yeah.
gets super slippery.
Storybook Land Canal Boats closed. But things like Dumbo, totally open.
Yeah.
Casey Jr., totally open. Yeah. I'm trying to think of like other things that I was surprised were open.
I was like Big Thunder. I was surprised about Matterhorn. I was surprised
Incredicoaster.
about. Yeah,
Incredicoaster.
Incredicoaster.
I knew that because I'd ridden Incredicoaster
Yeah.
in the past in the rain. So, but it was really great. I'll tell you, going with a child, you know this. You've already been with a small child before, and I hadn't. It is wonderful to look at Disneyland through like the kid's eyes because like he was like there were times where his eyes were just bugging out of his head like what the heck, and he was a little shy, so like the characters were whatever, but once he kind of warmed up, there was some great character interactions. There was Olaf and Elsa. We stood in line in the Animation Academy to meet them,
yeah.
and that was a really great experience. Now, I will always say this about character interactions. It's a plus and a minus. It's a minus because you're waiting in line forever,
Yes.
and the reason it's forever is because they spend a lot of time with you.
Yes.
So once we got there, it was very nice. And Elsa and Olaf were very nice, although Otto's a little smarter than maybe he should be. And at the character dining and at Olaf, asked his parents, why aren't they talking? And so they had to come up with like, well, you know, they probably talked a lot today, and so they probably don't need to talk anymore or
Yeah.
whatever. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't expect a 3-year-old to be like, why aren't they talking?
Well, I mean, it makes sense because when you see these characters on screen, you're talking.
That's true.
So then to see them in person and they're not, yeah, no, that makes sense.
I got so excited while you were meeting Anna and Elsa and Olaf in a line for that because Maro and I went into Animation Academy.
Smart
Maro,
choice.
yeah, I figured you'd appreciate that. Maro is such a good drawer, like artist in the making, ready to go. And we got in for when it was one of the Disney 100 specials. So we didn't know the character, which we found out was artist choice. So they could kind of pick whatever they're kind of interested in. And I start getting all giddy because he's like, we're going to draw one of my favorite companions from Moana. I'm like, Tage is going to die. We're drawing Hey Hey. We drew Pua. So not that exciting, but that makes sense. Hey Hey is probably really challenging to draw.
Right, yeah.
Pua was definitely reasonable. Maro's drawing is definitely better than mine. But still, it was cool to go through that. It was a huge group. Like they filled the auditorium standing room only.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there were a couple of plaids in there. And so it was definitely something people were
Wow.
excited for.
Very cool.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really excited to talk to Jason and Michelle when they come on the show about is, of course, their first time and all of that. But Otto also, being a 3-year-old, had to use the restroom a lot. So Jason has restroom opinions as well that he wants to talk about, I think, on the show. He did say it was very handy to have someone like myself be able to tell him where the nearest restroom was, because I think...
Otherwise, it's on the app.
Well, here's the thing. Otto... Well, they didn't really want to use the app that much. But
If
Otto...
you don't have a tag with you.
I think Otto was smart, because what would happen is if we stood in line for more than a couple minutes, he was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And so Jason would take him out of line and go to the bathroom, and by the time he came back, we'd be like almost in the front of the line.
Yep.
So I think Otto was like, I don't want to stand in this line. I'll go to the bathroom.
Well, and also he's now paused. He's not thinking about anything else.
Right.
And so he probably also was like, oh,
One thing that I'm very happy that happened, because normally these things don't happen when we're at the park. The first day we were there, the Adventureland walkway was still down to like nothing.
Yeah.
And we were kind of frustrated, and by we I mean me, because we were trying to get to the hub, and they were telling us that we had to go through Adventureland. They wouldn't let us through Frontierland out to the hub during fireworks, like getting close to fireworks or parade time or something. And I'm like, there's one small one-way thing over there. Is that really where you want us to go? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, because we had come from like the Haunted Mansion area, I purposely didn't go through Adventureland because I knew that was going to be a bottleneck. Nope, they made us go through it.
Oh, yeah.
But then the very next day, all of them had rescinded, and I was like, they finished this. And they did a good job. It wasn't plain concrete. They've got some designs there.
They've got some themed concrete.
So I thought you'd appreciate that.
I do appreciate
as somebody
that.
who's been upset with the concrete artistry as of late.
Yes.
James, is there anything else?
I think something else neat that was happening that I don't know if we'd seen before was the Main Street vehicles were running at night.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that was, I don't know if it was a recent addition or what, but it was just cool to have them out like later on at a different time. We rode the horseless carriage down the street to help us get back to Frontierland or wherever we're trying to get. It was just really nice to kind of have that at night.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that was weird is they had 2 omnibuses out. So they had all the vehicles and both omnibuses out. And I'm like, 2 omnibuses? And then I was frustrated because the day was raining and I was by myself in the park. I walked over to the guy because the omnibus was parked in the hub. And I was like, I'll take the omnibus. I love the omnibus. You can't go to the upstairs when it's raining. And I was like, the upstairs is closed? He's like, yep. And mentally I thought, what's the point then? And I walked down Main Street. I also picked up, for those of you, because I know Teresa wants to tease me about it, I also bought a Phantasmic Magic Band.
Oh, yes, I did. I did tease you because what's your collection at now?
4.
I'm still at 1.
I'm still at 0.
I'll let you borrow one of mine when we
Let
go.
you borrow one.
It is really nice to get in and out of the park with that.
Yeah.
It is super
And
convenient.
Photo Pass. Because
That's
every
true.
time we took pictures somewhere, I was just like, here you go. And then they were like, beep. Yeah.
There you go. So all in all, a good trip.
I think we did a lot in 3 days. It was the lowest lines I've seen in forever. And there was somebody there who didn't know a bunch of Disney knowledge and was interested in listening to it. Because, like, I can spew to you, but you know just about as much as I do. And you know more about even different things about Disneyland. So it's like,
Right.
you're not impressed by my knowledge. And we've been there so many times, everything's just kind of normal for us. So it was nice to go with people who like thought it was cool that like I knew where all the bathrooms were, or thought it was cool that I knew how certain things worked or whatever.
There you go.
And what's nice for the near future too is like the 2 big bits of construction we got to see with the Adventureland Treehouse and the San Francisco Square. Like we saw really good progress moving on those, and that it's like this is going to be soon, and they're coming together really nice.
I was hoping Tiana's Palace and or the Adventureland Treehouse would open while we're there, but no.
Still no date for the Adventureland Treehouse.
It's getting close, though. It looks...
Yeah.
You know what was interesting? You're talking about the Adventureland Treehouse. We were in line for Indy, and they had taken down the scrims on the Indy side.
Because of a storm.
And no, just down. Like, it was gone.
You know what? I think they were...
But there was a bunch of, like they cut down a ton of that bamboo under there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was surprised because there's a lot of just, like, dirt. And I was like, this is weird because they used to have so much bamboo there. Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, glad that everyone had a good time. I mean, it's hard to not have a good time at Disneyland, but glad everyone had fun and enjoyed it, and you had a unique experience in many different ways. So,
Yes.
thanks for reporting back.
Yes.
It's okay. I'll be the only weekly tier without an answer. Make sure you send your questions to Producer James or Producer Vern at trivia@DLWeekly.net.
All right, well, time to transition back to Trivia Land, huh? Magic. It feels so weird not getting a break. So I'm just going to jump into the questions. and we'll see how much you got right, let alone remember. So, first question, true or false, the Haunted Mansion building is inspired by a real house in New Orleans? You two are split. Teresa's right, though. It is not based off a house in New Orleans.
Course.
Teresa, do you know where the house it's based off of is from?
Baltimore.
What?
Isn't it Baltimore?
Baltimore, North Carolina.
Not Maryland.
Yeah,
North Carolina.
It's called the Evergreen House. Some of the inside details and story, though, stem from the legends of the Winchester House in San Jose, California.
Oh, yeah, the Winchester
That makes
Mystery
sense.
House.
That makes sense.
Can I just say, for the audio listeners, that Teresa has the biggest grin of satisfaction on her face?
No. Do you want to know why there's a big grin? Because when James asked what it was, it's not the right Baltimore, but I had the Good Morning Baltimore song stuck in my head, and I was debating back and forth whether or not I should sing that or just say Baltimore. So
okay.
That was more,
It was your internal amusement at yourself?
Yes.
You should have sang it anyway.
That was the majority of the the grin was that, yeah.
I've been there. Okay.
Moving on. Question number 2. There are 3 marionettes at the exit of Pinocchio's Daring Journey, or at least at some point there were. Allegedly,
super curious
they
about
represent the past, present, and future of the park. What are the marionettes? There is a marionette of Pinocchio, a marionette of a cast member, and a marionette that's an unfinished doll.
Ooh.
Past, present, future.
Interesting. Do you have a photo of this?
I do.
I'm super curious about this. Mental note, next time we're there, we're going to try
Is it
and
still
spot
there?
this.
I'm not confident.
Well,
I
we
didn't
will
remember to
report
look for it
back.
while we were there, so...
We will try and report back.
Yeah. Third question from listener Todd B. On the Incredicoaster, how many times does Jack Jack appear, including when he multiplies himself? Tage said 16. Teresa said 18. You two did not go over. I'm going to give Teresa a full point for this one. It's 19. Tage, you can have half point.
Thank you. That's a nice pity point.
I mean, you're within 3. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Our last question before the bonus. What was the opening day attraction that occupied the space where Ariel's undersea adventure now resides? It's Golden Dreams. You are both right.
Tage.
A historical movie about California.
But what was the... Oh, that's this.
The bonus, who is the host of this attraction? Thanks again to Savannah F. Portrayed by Whoopi Goldberg, it's Queen Khalifa.
Queen Khalifa.
She came to life through projection on the large statues on the side of the video screen. Tage, I think you're close enough that I can probably give you half a point for that one, too.
I suppose.
So, I do have some more backstory from Savannah on that one. She plugged this as behind the scenes. As a previous cast member at this location, it was one of the best places to work. There were usually only 2 cast members working there at a time, one outside, one inside. You swapped places each time the movie was over. This meant you got to spend half of every shift sitting down in a dark, air-conditioned theater.
Ooh.
I mean, I can see that
That does
being...
sound good.
But there's also the torture of having to watch the same movie over and
I
over
wonder if
again.
you don't just tune it out, though. Kind
Probably.
of like how, like if you work at retail and the holiday music at some point, your brain, like, people can just don't even notice it's playing anymore.
Yeah.
Totally tune it out.
I feel like, though, when I worked retail, I feel like there was enough other distractions to
Sure,
allow me to tune it
yeah.
out. But if there was no other distractions, that could be difficult.
But air conditioning tag.
That, I mean,
and sitting.
air conditioning is important.
I think sitting is the bigger win.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of wins, Tage and Teresa kind of won this week in Trivia Land, I think.
Goodness.
Maybe you like it when they win and you want to send them some nice questions they can answer, or maybe you don't and you want to help stump them. Either way, trivia questions come to producer Vern and I through email. It's trivia@dlweekly.net.
Well, we will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
Until then, go out and enjoy the parks.
And we want to thank our editor, Sidel, for editing this episode.
And making us sound like magic.
Please remain seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop and the doors have opened. Then collect your belongings, watch your head, and step carefully from the episode. On behalf of all of our crew, thanks for traveling with us, and we hope you have a happy and memorable visit here at DL Weekly.